Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to just do a quick review of this guy right here, but first, please subscribe and follow the Instagram and like the Facebook page. Alright, let's get into this. Let's first start with size comparisons, but first, this is a Hinderer Eklipse with a Bowie blade. Now, you all know I love a good Bowie, and this is a good Bowie. So, let's first start off with a Rat 1 for a good size comparison there. They're very, very close in every dimension. It's a pretty darn good size comparison. Then let's work our way up to a Shaman. Handle-wise, it is a very good size comparison. Obviously, your Hinderer Eklipse is going to have more blade length and more length of the blade in general, not just the sharpened part of it. Now let's do a 940. Kind of get a good feel kind of where the pivot is, so you can see the handle difference and the blade difference there at the same time. And then let's do a Strider S&G. This is a little bit better size comparison. They're pretty darn close. Handle length and then blade length are very similar, if not the same. Now let's get into two comparisons that will kind of show you the difference when it comes to Hinderer within Hinderer itself. So let's do an XM18 3.5 inch. No choil, to be specific. You're going to see something a little bit interesting is the Eklipse handle is ever so slightly longer. The Eklipse's blade is actually ever so slightly longer by a touch. I mean, by very, very little, if you can tell right there. Just a tad. But also has the same blade or sharpened edge as a no choil XM18 3.5 inch. So to do a better comparison to the normal Hinderer, normal XM18 3.5 inch, I'll use my fatty here. It has a sharpening choil or finger choil. That way you can kind of get a better idea of the normal length, handle, normal blade, sharpened length compared to a Eklipse. Now, let's get into just pure measurements here, because I know there are people out there that do like that. Let's go ahead and go here. I know this is upside down, but this will give you a better representation. So off of the thumb stud, looking short of 3.5. Go on the scale, we're looking at, looking at a little bit over 3.5 inches. Now, if depending on how if the cop likes you or not, he could easily go down here instead and get you with more blade length and get real close to 4 inches, but that'll be a cop that has to dislike you for whatever reason. Overall, we can get into that later, but so the Eklipse. what's so great about the Eclipse? Why get an Eclipse? Why is there Eclipse versus an XM18 3.5 inch? Why was this guy produced? Because we all know the classic is the XM18. Everybody loves an XM18, except for little quirks that the XM18 has. And that's exactly why this was made, because of the XM18's quirks that people either complained about or kind of just nonchalantly didn't like, but it wasn't a deal breaker. Still, one thing you will notice is there's no jumping on the lock. Not at all on the lock bar. There's no jumping back here. There's no jumping here. Only jumping on the spine, and it is useful jumping, but you're not going to land in the jumping. You have a good thumb rest right here, and with the Bowie right there. Fantastic. Flipper is not nearly as sharp. As you can tell, there's a little bit it's more rounded off. It's not nearly as aggressive. There is jumping on the flipper, but this just helps you get grip. That's about it. You can, at least with this one, I can reverse flick it. I can thumb stud it. I can flip it. I have yet to successfully get a reverse flick here, but like that, nope, probably not going to happen. So you have jumping down here. That way you do have some grip there. Overall, the only Hinderer knife to outdo ergonomics of the Eclipse. This is the best Hinderer ergos you're probably going to have. Flat out. There's only one that is close to it, but the only other one that beats it is going to be your Hinderer or Tad Dauntless. This has better ergos than your Eclipse, but then again, if you're just looking for a normal or a Hinderer, it's not a collab, and it's easier to get, and you want the best ergos, I would go with the Eclipse. In fact, this is one of the best knives Hinderer makes. And people would argue that it is the best Hinderer, or best knife Hinderer makes. I would disagree with that. I think it is the best knife Hinderer makes for the average person. It is going to be better for most people over an XM18. It's not the best knife they make, but for the average person, it is the best knife. It's the best knife for the average person, basically. It is pretty much the same thickness that an XM18 has when it comes to stock. So with the slightly longer blade, you are going to have a slightly more delicate tip, but that also makes opening packages a whole lot easier. It's going to be able to pierce and open that chip bag, or that bag that doesn't have a ziplock function or a tear function, or whatever have you. It'll be able to cut that and stab into that, cut that a lot easier than an XM18 Bowie. Actually, it's very hard to tell the difference, but on tougher packages you will notice a difference. It's not going to be like an every single time thing, but you will notice it. Obviously, just so everybody knows, that is oil, and that is a lubrication. It is not rust. That is something to watch out though for when it comes to the working finish, which this is working finish Bowie. It will do fine when it comes to normal water. But as soon as you get sweat on here, give it 30 minutes. Give it an hour, sometimes depending. You're going to see surface rust. Definitely will recommend having alcohol swab or patch like this on you or like near you. So when you get surface rust, just open this up, use your fingernail with it, and it'll rub it and it'll take out the surface rust like that pretty quickly. But the fact that you have to do that is a little frustrating. So if you work in an environment where you will get sweat on the blade, just be cognizant of that when you have working finish. Now, if you're looking at like stone wash, you're going to be fine. No problem at all. You'll be good to go. It's only with working finish that you have to kind of worry about that. This is actually also battle bronze here. Battle bronze standoffs. Black here and here and here. And black and blue G10. Regardless, is this going to beat out my XM18 for my most carried? No. Will it beat out my most carried, more carried at work? Yes. And the reason for that is the ergonomics. Simple. It has better ergonomics. It's going to feel better whenever I have to, let's say, strip wire or cut something or cut a part of a 2x4 to jam it in there for bracing or something like that. Because I am an electrician, so I do pretty intense work, and sometimes I really do need a knife that can handle heavy duty tasks. And this can handle it just as well as the XM18, but it's going to feel better while doing so. And that's why I will more often than not choose the Eclipse over the XM18. It is more refined. It's taken the simple little bad things about an XM18 or the nitpicks people had and made it better. Taking away the jimping people hated. Taking away the flipper tab, not aggressive flipper tab. You are having better ergonomics. The clip feels better in hand. You're overall making it easier. And another thing is, you're taking away the Chicago screws. No nut and screw. It's just screw. That's it. Screw on both sides. Simple. Makes it easy. Nothing to worry about. That way you don't have to hold one side and tighten it. The only other thing that they did keep that people do have a little right with is the pivot screw, but this is still pretty simple. You can get this as a bit for this at Home Depot or Lowe's, and this is just a flathead. Simple. So again, they solved all the major issues or major complaints with the XM18 with this one, with the Eclipse. And I would highly recommend someone that's looking for a Hinderer but wants the most ergonomic and more refined knife. This is for you. If you like that, if you like Hinderer or are interested in Hinderer and you want to get your first one, but you want something in more of the full-sized range, the Eklipse. It's a full-size knife. It's not a large knife. It's not a small knife, but definitely we'll be able to take anything you throw at it and have a decent blade length to be able to do any tasks that you need to, and have great ergonomics alongside it. Yeah, this is definitely a great knife overall. And this is the first time they've done the Bowie variant straight from Hinderer. And let me say, it is probably one of the best looking Eclipses out there. There's something about the Bowie that shines, and specifically shines fantastically on the Eclipse. All right, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and follow. That would be great. See you guys in the next one.